Hi guys, welcome back to day 14 of our Christmas card series. So for today I thought we would do a cute little hot chocolate mug. And we've got a little candy cane here and some marshmallows in there. So if you guys want to see this card, then please keep watching. And just to let you know, I will be putting out cards every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday up until Christmas. So be sure to subscribe and look out for those videos. Okay, so let's get into this one. So I think I'm going to stick with the red theme. So we'll do our little red candy cane, and I think some of these stripes we're going to do in red on our mug here. And then the rest of the mug will be in white. So we'll be working in some reds and some shadows for this mug. So first I'm just going to start, and I'm going to get my cadmium red deep hue. I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get a slightly watery mixture, and we're going to start with our mug. So we'll just start dropping this in. Enough water so that the paint will move, but we also want it to stay wet for a little bit. And like I always say, you guys can always use whatever colors you want. Doesn't have to be the same as me at all. I'm just getting some of that excess liquid off of there now. Because I don't want the paint to stay too wet. Okay, so while that's wet, I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson and just a tiny little bit of lamp black. And I'm going to make a pretty thick consistency so the paint's not moving too much. And I'm just going to drop it in right along the edge here. And I've gone down to my size 2 brush for this. So for the rest of it, we were using our size 6. And just for here along the edges, we're going to go down to our size 2. And that's going to create a little bit of a shadow wrapping around the mug. Okay, so we'll keep that brush for that, and we'll carry on with the next stripe. Just doing the exact same thing. Just having enough paint on there so that it really moves around. So we're not dry brushing. And you can take your time and be as fussy as you want. I don't care if my edges are perfectly straight. I always just say that lends to, watercolor. If it's not exactly perfect, it lends to the look of watercolor. And again, we're just going to drop our alizarin crimson red in. Right on those edges, and just let it do its thing. Okay, and we shall carry on. With this bottom stripe. Just going to take a little bit of water off there. Okay, and we'll take that alizarin crimson red again and just drop that right into the sides. Okay. Okay. All right, so I think while we've got our reds, we're gonna do our candy cane at the same time, and then we'll let our reds dry. So I'm just gonna go in and do a few stripes with this. Get a little bit of water. And we're just gonna start here. And I'm not really following the stripes that I've laid out for myself, apparently. But that's okay. It's watercolor. You do whatever you want. If you learn anything from these Christmas cards, I hope it's that you can just do whatever you want. There are no rules in watercolor. Okay, so I'm going to go in with that alizarin crimson again. And I'm getting a fairly thick mixture because this is quite wet. And I'm just going to do just a little dab of that on the sides of the candy cane. Just to help with that 3D effect. And I'm just going to tap in a little bit more wherever I think it needs it. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll go in with our shadows on our white parts. Okay, so now that our red is dry, we're going to go in with our shadows on the white part of the cup. And for that, I'm going to take some indigo, but I'm going to do it really watered down, like a really watered down version of that. And we're just going to go along the edges. Actually, maybe even a little bit more watered down than that. Just because we want it to be just a hint of color. Okay, so we'll try that. And it will dry a little bit lighter too. And I'm just tapping up any excess water because you don't want it to be too watery. It's just going to sit there too long to dry. Okay. I'll go along these edges too. Now where the mug handle connects, that's going to be a little bit in shadow too. And over here too. And then all underneath of it. On the bottom side is going to be in shadow. And then we can just do a tiny little bit for the outside of it. And then I'm just going to get my brush pretty dry and just go in and clean up those edges. Just so that they're not super sharp. So I'm just lifting a bit of that color. And I'm just going to go in and do the same here. Just where we have that really harsh line there. There. And that's just starting to pick up a little bit of that red, so there. Okay. Now we're going to go and do the same thing along the little mushrooms, along the little marshmallows, and then with our candy cane. So I'm going to go down to a size 2 just because these are a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to pick up some of that same color. And we're just going to go underneath all of our why do I want to call them mushrooms? Marshmallows. Okay, so that's in there, and then we're just going to do the same with the candy cane stripes. Okay. And then I'm just going to go in and just clean up any little edges. That I don't want to be too harsh. You might not care to do this. That's totally up to you. You might want to leave your edges as they are. That's completely fine. Because we didn't use a whole lot of paint, it's pretty much dry now. Okay. So that's that, and I'm just going to take just a slightly darker version of that indigo that we're using, and I'm just gonna do a tiny bit right along to define the shape of those marshmallows. Okay, and I'm just gonna slightly let that fade out in some areas. And same with under the bottom of the cup. I'm just going to let that fade out. There. So I think that's our hot chocolate mug for today. Not too hard, pretty easy, but just some steps involved. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you did, please give the video a like, and please subscribe, and come back for the next video. Thanks for watching.